Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. Ron McCarthy scores the contest 48-47, Cejudo. Marcos Rosales scores it 48-47, Johnson. And Sal Diablo scores the contest 48-47 for the winner. And
Henry Cejudo and the new UFC flyweight champion.
And we have a trilogy in the making.
And we have a trilogy now in the making, it seems. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Cejudo winning, defeating Demetrious Johnson by split decision. I think an obvious score, like an obvious fight to score, in my opinion. It's that first round. I think the judges should have a split on who won it based off of that first round, but Cejudo probably should have won that. I want to hear a little bit of Joe Rogan's
post-fight interview.
Yes.
Oh,
let me turn that up here. Where's the mouse? There
You're
it is.
missing it.
Shocked the world.
Perfect timing.
Thank you.
Definitely did. I want to say thank you to California.
Thank you, California.
I was born in the ghetto streets of South Central LA in a 2-bedroom apartment, literally 10 minutes away from here, Joe. And I will be here, beat probably the greatest of all time from being knocked out in the first round. And I couldn't do it without my team, my support system. Captain Eric Alvarez, who's been with me since 2004. My agent Ali, Alan, my coach.
Great job there from
this thing together. And I want to
Cejudo.
thank my mentor, Dave Zolan, man. Without you, actually, this bout isn't even mine, Joe. This bout is for Dave Zolan, my mentor, who I love very much. This is for you, Dave. Thank you for believing in me.
Henry,
We did it, Adrian.
I want to take this back to the first round. Something crazy happened to your ankle in the first round. What was that? It seemed like your leg, you can take a look at the big screen and you can see it. Your leg gave out. There was something wrong with your ankle right away. What was that?
It was a little calf crusher that Demetrious hit me with. It hurt. I tried to step on it again. I couldn't find my balance, and
so it was a nerve thing?
I think so. It was muscle.
So
like a muscle spasm.
recover from that.
I could see that.
You go
I've had
into
my
the
fair
second
share.
round, you managed
that
to take
happened.
him down.
I'm good. I don't want to get flagged. I mean, yes, that and new, ladies and gentlemen, and new. I really don't have much to say about it. Trilogy fight. That was such a bad fight.
Dude, we all got it wrong. You realize that?
I was right about Alvarez, but wrong about Demetrious Johnson. In what world is that possible?
The world where you're probably going to get the next pick wrong.
Don't even say that.
You know you're going to do it, man.
No. See, there's already one upset. You got to think about it that way. Like, this already happened.
We've had 2.
No, I'm talking about the UFC card.
Oh, yeah, sure. We've had...
Like, the likelihood and the odds that we get both Cejudo winning and Cody Garbrandt.
I'll buy you a round, buddy, if it happens.
No, I don't want a round. I want to just... This isn't right. Because think about it. We were supposed to get, in all seriousness, we're supposed to get TJ Dillashaw versus Demetrious Johnson super fight. Now, that's obviously off the table because Demetrious Johnson lost. But think about it. If that fight was completely off the table because both guys lose, I mean, come on. That's the MMA
Or they make the
guys.
fight because they both lost.
I don't want to see that.
Who comes back with
that's
the
not
win?
It's not a super fight then. It's not a super fight then.
So what, Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw then?
No. It's a trilogy fight, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, it's like the irony of not just the idea that super fight was going to be made and one of them lost. No, both of them lost.
The super fight's dead.
It would be like, obviously like George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva back in the day. That was always talked about, super fight. Imagine if both those guys lost on the same night. Like Chris Weidman knocking out Anderson Silva, but the fight earlier, GSP got knocked out. Like, the likelihood of that happening is just literally unreal. Let's hear a little bit of Demetrious Johnson.
Was staying across, letting me cross distance, and I just kept kicking the legs, and he's a big dude. Each time he got on top of me, he would hold, and, congrats to Henry.
When you were going into the fifth round, excuse me, did you feel like it was even?
Yeah, I thought it was even. I felt like when he took me down, there was nothing really significant that he was doing. He was just passing my guard.
But Demetrious,
he's a big dude, and I could feel each time we would clash.
you did
hit him, and then he would get, like,
nothing
shots off.
significant.
Nothing really landed clean to like rock me.
Nothing.
He's a champ now.
Was there anything surprising about this fight to you?
No. I knew Henry Cejudo was going to be tough. I knew he was going to be an A game. He's just a big dude and strong.
What happens now?
I'll go back home. My beautiful wife's at home. She's going to give. We're going to have our third child, and recover and see what's next.
Well, congratulations on your third child. Can't wait to see you again, sir. Mighty Mouse.
He's too happy right now in defeat. That bugs me.
He took some money. Let's get those conspiracy theories
No,
out here.
stop, Santiago, stop. I won't even allow that. I know you're joking, but no, I'm not even gonna allow that here.
You should be happy George is not here. You know he would have been bringing this thing up like wazoo as soon as you said that.
But no, like that's not even like what's. He took money. Does that mean Joseph Parker took money in every loss he has because he's just happy with losing? No, some guys just have that character trait.
Nah, kudos to him and his great grace in defeat. You know, you gotta love that.
No, it's not about being gracious in defeat and not being gracious in defeat. It's about being upset with you losing, being upset with yourself that you lost. He does not show that. He doesn't. Tim and Joseph Parker, they never show that they're upset that they lose. It's not about being respectful or being gracious. It has nothing to do with that because you can be gracious and respectful of your opponent in defeat and so go, man, I should have done better. I could have done better. I'll do better next time. Like, there's no sense of like, like I lost. You don't see that. He was smiling. The dude lost. The dude lost his entire run, lost his belt, his entire legacy in a sense, and he was smiling afterwards. That's just not a good sign. That's a sign to me that you're not hungry, that you don't want this.
You think he's pretty much done at this point?
It's not necessarily that, but it's that, fighters on the come up trying to get that title, right? This is a common thing. That fire in the up-and-comer is very different than the fire that you need as a champion to sustain that run, right? To stay on top, right? It's very different to get to the top than it is to stay on top.
Yeah,
but that's always talked about.
It's a tried old adage. It's harder to keep a belt than it is to win it.
Yes. Obviously, I think part of that is due to people getting not necessarily bored. Maybe that's a wrong word. But champions get over it. Like they get, I think. I don't know how to describe it, but you see it often with long reigning champs that they sort of just get tired of the game. You see it maybe in old veterans that are wins and losses, but it's a different look because they're losing. But the guys that are always on top, and they just
been on top for so long,
and you can just tell that their heart's not in it anymore. That's been that way for Demetrious Johnson for a while, I would say. He was able to style on everyone so easily, so it didn't show. It showed here. That fire is not there, that will to win, that desire to win, to be the champion, that is obviously not there in Demetrious Johnson right now. At no point in that fight did he have a sense of urgency. At no point in that fight did he, I think, realize and have some self-actualization of, hey, I am losing this fucking fight. I'm about to lose my belt. No sense of urgency, it seemed, in the corner as well, even though we had the audio off. The body language, you could tell when they're corner.
You could easily read that.
It was not there. It wasn't. That's just a concerning factor for me. When you don't seem upset that you lost. Especially of this loss. Where you lost this run. You lost your belt. You've been the only flyweight champion in UFC history. That's been your claim to fame. You beat Anderson's record. All this stuff, all these metrics and numbers on your side. Boom, starting from zero now. Starting from scratch now. You're all the way back down to zero, have to move way back up. Obviously not directly because you can just get an immediate rematch probably, but still, it's sad to see that. Because obviously I think Demetrious Johnson is such a skilled competitor and fighter that him not having that heart and the desire, I think is detrimental to his career and his future. If he doesn't get that back, I think Cejudo wins the rematch easily.
Yeah, easily. It's going to be a matter of him, like, if he lost the fire, regaining the fire, and proving that he still wants a little bit more out of this. Otherwise, what else could you say,
Jay saying I'm crazy to say all that from just the post-fight interview and the fight. It's not just that, though. Like, when has Demetrious Johnson seemed like he is in love with fighting still? Like, that's been gone for a while, Jay. And if you just haven't, noticed it, that's cool. I definitely go back and look at Embedded, look at UFC interviews, look at stuff. He has seemed like he's been disinterested. I think he really wanted that TJ fight. I don't think he wanted this Henry Cejudo fight. He wasn't offered the money by the UFC for that TJ fight. He didn't get it. Like I said, if you don't seem like you have a sense of urgency, if you don't seem like you want to win, then why am I going to pick you to win, Jay? Like, did at any point in that fight, did Demetrious Johnson look like he actually wanted to win that fight? Santiago, can you answer? Do you think there was a point in that fight that Demetrious Johnson looked like he actually wanted to win that fight?
No, it looked like he couldn't get up for that fight. But
Yes.
Case in point, really, it was like you said, it was a fight he didn't want. Obviously,
Fight he probably wasn't paid enough for that. Wasn't happy about,
and he just didn't care.
He won that super fight, legacy defining fight. I think until he fights a bantamweight champion and beats a bantamweight champion, he was never gonna get the credit he deserved, which I think is now, unfortunately, even going to be compounded by this loss.
Yeah, it's just a bad way to go, really.
Jay, making a good counterpoint, saying Demetrious Johnson has never been a big over-the-top talker, enthusiastic guy. I don't know about that. I get what you're saying, Jay. Trust me, I understand exactly where you're coming from. But again, look at, let's say, Demetrious Johnson interviews and promos for the UFC, right? UFC Embedded, UFC Countdown videos. Go watch ones from the Dominic Cruz fight, for example, or the Ian McCall flyweight tournament, all that stuff. It's a different Demetrious Johnson. It is. It is vastly different. Look at how he acted after he knocked out Joseph Benavidez on Fox. And he looked like a fucking murder scene that he just shot Joseph Benavidez with the blood trickling down his fucking face. And he one-shotted that guy. He was hyped. He was like, I am the best fighter. He said stuff like that. Jay saying, Demetrious said for years if he'd eventually lose, he'd be fine about it. Okay, and I think that's a flaw. I don't think you should be fine with losing. Like, being fine with losing as a fighter is not a good quality to have. You must recognize that, Jay. Like, and it's very different than just say, like, accepting your losses. That's very different. That's a different idea to mentally and psychologically accept that you have lost. It's very different than saying, hey, you have to be upset that you lost. You want to work to be better. And losing it should be a main driving force to make yourself be better. Dominic Cruz coming off a loss to Demetrious Johnson coming off a loss to Dominic Cruz had a sense of urgency, had a sense of just will to, I want to win. I want to prove that I am an elite guy and I'm the best guy at flyweight when they made that division. And he showed it. And now, 12 fights later, he got a fight he didn't want to take, and he wasn't up for it. He didn't have the willpower anymore for it. I don't know how... Nothing that I've seen has shown that to be wrong, I would say. Santiago, do you have any points to add or counter?
No, like I said, being at this for as long as he has, and also, other fights he would have wanted, more fights that he was interested in, and the fact that he had to make do with this fight, among other things, I could easily imagine, like, the fire just wasn't there. He couldn't get up for it, and, it's just basically repeating the same thing, like, obviously it's a character flaw to, like, not feel like you should have done better, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, what else is there to do but get the rematch, hopefully, rebound from this and try to work back towards making that super fight if it's still there,
Jay saying, sort of clarifying what he's saying, I think he meant fine in terms of not having a Ronda post Holly Holm moment. No, I agree that's probably what he meant. And obviously we don't want that. We don't want that sort of being upset at a loss. Obviously, there is degrees and there's a spectrum to it. But I'll put it this way. Even though I picked against Cody Garbrandt, the fact that he's so upset that he lost is a good indicator. It's a very good indicator to have. It shows that he really wants this, that he trained hard for this. It shows that he probably tried to fix holes in his game because he did not want to lose again. He didn't want to have that feeling again. Hopefully we see interviews when, Johnson Cejudo 3 gets made, or Cejudo Johnson 3, since Cejudo will be the champion. Johnson's saying better stuff where he's not smiling after losing. I don't like seeing a fighter smile after they
maybe
lose.
the realization hits him later, you know.
Yeah, it's true. It could be one of those things, you know. That does happen. When you're in the locker room or something like that, and all of a sudden it hits you, fuck, I'm not the champion anymore. That really just happened.
Like what happened with De La Hoya after he lost to Trinidad, remember?
Mm-hmm. You want to tell people what happened?
Yeah, basically, like, you know, he looked cool. He looked like he was, like, he understood he lost and whatnot, but he felt he won the fight. And then, like, as soon as he was making his way to the locker, you could see how mad and pissed off he was, cursing and everything, talking about like how he threw 1,000 more punches and stuff like that. You know, like the realization really hit him right then and there at that point. That, you know, I can't believe I lost. How could I have lost?
True.
I did better than him.
Jason, I think you bounced back. Y'all reaching, in my opinion, but y'all know I respect what you guys say. No, obviously, Jay. Obviously, this is just debate. We're debating fighting. Like, this is purely the most pointless debate we can have, let's be honest, in the entire spectrum of the world and issues in the world is sports. We can have sports debates and have fun with it. I'll say this. I just to sort of finish this topic and move on, because obviously TJ Dillashaw's walking out. This main event's about to start. I understand why you think we may be reaching, and maybe this is just out of concern of what it seems to be happening with Demetrious Johnson. Because, again, I am a huge fan of Demetrious Johnson. I believe when he's on point, he is, if not the best fighter on the planet, one of the best fighters on the planet. And that didn't seem to be here tonight. He wasn't on point. He didn't seem to care. And those are just red flags to me. And maybe it is an isolated case. Maybe it's an isolated incident where it's not going to happen again. But it did happen tonight. He didn't care. There was no sense of urgency. He was completely accepting of the loss in a way that is maybe upsetting in a way if you're a consumer or a fan of his. And hopefully it is an isolated case because, again, he is one of the greatest fighters on the planet. I cannot wait for a trilogy, even though this fight was not good, was not entertaining. Hopefully a third one's much better. The first one was great, even though it was a much shorter fight. It was entertaining. Hopefully the third one's more entertaining, at least.
Yeah, one can always hope, right?
Yep. Any last thoughts on Demetrious Johnson, Henry Cejudo before we move on?
I think we've said all we had to say regarding that. I mean, now it's just up for the main event. Cody Garbrandt's already in the octagon. TJ's just barely entering.